starting with A, the Governing Documents Committee, Paul and company. I'll go ahead and recognize myself. Respectfully, the Governing Documents Committee has done some excellent work today. We got together and took a look at the members handbook. We've been looking at the communal document, and now we shifted focus to the membership handbook so we can get some more done there. We've done some re-examination of our mission statement and our vision statement. We're trying to make the language more accessible, more clear about what our mission is, what our vision is, and so that, you know, this document is both essentially the talk of what we're going to do, and then we walk the walk, and so that we're in alignment with what our documents are laying out. That's kind of the goal that we're doing in the Governing Documents Committee. And again, as I've said in previous weeks, the Governing Documents Committee is completely open and open to participation of any counselor, even those who aren't sitting on it. And so if you'd like to comment on our copies for comment and our copy for revision, and you'd like to see something changed, something added, something preserved, please let it be known. And I ask everyone in the Governing Documents Committee to next week on Friday at 12 when we're meeting, please bring 1 or 2 items that we can discuss so that we can make further changes. We are in the next couple of weeks wanting to solidify a document or 2 documents for us to approve as a group. That's everything I have. Does anyone else on the Governing Documents Committee want to add something? Maybe something I've missed? Going once, going twice, and we'll move on to the next report. On to SACAB. I'm going to go ahead and recognize Stephanie.
So I'm making an announcement for SACAB today. Stephanie's not feeling well, so I will go on. We had a really encouraging meeting this morning. We actually had training this morning as well from 9 to 11. We went over AHEC's bylaws, and we also went over SACAB's bylaws. We made some notes in there. We're going to this year try to make some adjustments to the SACAB bylaws, make it more accessible to people. One notable thing we're looking to strike is the 3-year requirement to live in Colorado. I think that makes it hard for people, especially like CCD, to find members. So we had a really encouraging meeting there. Next week, we're going to have another meeting, training. We're going to go over kind of things we want to accomplish this year. And then we're going to elect our officers to the various different boards that SACAB, or different committees that SACAB has, and as well as the chair of SACAB as well. So I believe that's all I have at the moment for SACAB. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. And that you'd spoken a little bit for Stephanie. I want to make sure we give Stephanie an opportunity. Is there anything you wanted to add there, Stephanie, for item B, SACAB? All right, hearing none, we're going to move on to the next item, unless you're muted. Going twice? Okay, cool. So we'll move on. Thank you, Mike. On to item C, Board of Trustee. I'm going to go ahead and recognize Gabe. You have the floor.
Hi, I have no update. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you, Gabe. All right, we're going to move on to item D, the Social Media Committee updates. I'm going to go ahead and recognize the chair of the Social Media Committee, Chad Gouge. Go ahead.
Yes, so Social Media Committee met on Thursday, and we had a very productive meeting talking about the goals of our social media and outline some tasks that can help us achieve those goals. I'm also shortly going to put in all of our social medias, our Facebook, our Instagram, Twitter, and our YouTube for everybody to follow. If you are not, that'd be awesome. We're starting to up our posting schedule and share some more information about what we are doing, as well as events that are happening on campus.
Thank you, Chad. And I'll just quickly recognize myself as a member of that committee and commend Chad for really, we've set some goals, all right, some really, some goals to achieve in terms of engagement. And I really like the objective-oriented way that this committee is going. And I encourage everyone else running a committee, partaking in a committee, to look at this social media committee for a good model of how to, you know, go about doing the work we need to do. I know we have Alex and anyone else on the social media committee want to chime in? Oh, go ahead. I'm going to recognize Mike and then Alex.
Yes. So just a few things in terms of the Instagram wise, just letting the general council know. I will be reaching out to you guys shortly. One thing I definitely want to do is put like a profile of each counselor on our Instagram at least, give them a panel where they can kind of say what they want and speak to the student body directly. And then secondly, I want to do with Instagram is use our Reels function and post all our past resolutions and any notes we seem to like want to put on there as well. So just I'll be reaching out to y'all in the next month or so for that. So just let everyone know.
Thank you, Mike. Go ahead, Alex.
I would also like to add that one of our recent posts is going to be for tonight's first Friday Art Walk, if any of y'all are interested. And then we'll try to have 2 to 3 postings every week. So if there are any other committees that would like my help with making different marketing material, feel free to reach out to me or anyone else on the social media committee. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Alex. Saw the design you came up with. It was fantastic. So really do take them up on that. It's a great offer. All right, moving on to CSGC representative updates. Dan, I'm going to go ahead and recognize you.
So we've been invited to some meetings over this school year. There's been no council meeting as of yet, although the chair has invited us to a Slack, and I just noticed that the first people from other schools started joining those channels. So there's no resources yet being shared, but as soon as we have a meeting or any resources of interest that get shared, the council will be notified right away, and the update, it'll be added in the update during that week. So that's all the CSGC committee has, unless Paul, Mike, or Naomi has something.
I'll just recognize myself quickly, unless there's anyone else. I wanted to say that this Slack is an excellent opportunity for us to share our strategies and our ideas with our colleagues from across the state. And we really, really should get in there and participate in this discussion. And if people haven't started sharing their ideas yet, then we can be those to start. We can be the people who start that conversation. We can start to talk about what we've done and what we plan to do. And maybe other universities will follow suit. Other student leaders will follow suit. We're setting a really good example, I think, with some of this stuff. And so please, if you'd like to be on that Slack, shoot me a message. I'll get your email to this to the coordinator of CSGC, and we'll get that conversation going. Is there anyone else that wanted to add on, Mike, Naomi, for the CSGC representative updates? Okay. Yeah, I can hear you, Naomi. You're a little quiet. Is there anything you wanted to say?
No, I just wanted to say no. You know,
I'm sorry, I couldn't understand that. Could you say that one more time? No. Okay, no. Thank you. All right, we'll move on to the next item, Policy Advisory Committee. I'm going to go ahead and recognize Ree.
The committee would like everyone on campus to review the proposed Animals on University property policy. It's up for review through September 7th. I'm going to forward the email to the full council, but for those of you who won't get that email, I would say that they're really seeking feedback on this about emotional support animals, service animals, and the appropriateness on campus and when and how often. So if you'd look at there's an early bird article up. And then also, if you'd go to msudenver.edu/policy and click comment on a university policy, and you can give your opinions on this. Make sure they're heard. That's all from that committee.
Thank you, Ree. Sounds like something really important. Let's get the student voice heard in that avenue. Now, on to the next item, the TSAC Budget Committee. I'm going to go ahead and recognize Mike.
Hello. So we actually had a really good meeting Monday, first kind of official meeting, and we were whenever kind of a bunch of different things. I can kind of just go through the list here. The members, we went over the budget with them, so everyone should be on the same page. I will say everyone's allowed to these meetings. Just let me know, and we'll go from there. We went over how much we have left, how much we've spent, and then some future projections. So we talked in depth about the office assistant and their salary, which there'll be a different place in the schedule. We'll talk about this later. Elections for spring. So we invited the past elections manager, Chad, who's in the room with us today, to our next budget meeting. So we can kind of go over some numbers for what elections will cost. And then we'll meeting after that, we'll look into putting elections on to hire the election manager. And then last thing we kind of talked about was food for finals. It was brought to our attention that last year we ran out of food for food finals. So we're looking to up the amount this year significantly so we can address kind of the food concerns for when food finals happens. That's all I have so far on the budget committee. So
Thank you, Mike. We appreciate your continued work on the budget. Done a great job. On to item H, Faculty Student Affairs Committee, Naomi or Ree. I recognize Naomi on this for Progressive Stack, unless Naomi, can you speak on that? Naomi, I hate to cut you off, but we're having a little trouble hearing you. So do you mind if I recognize Ree on this one? I'm going to move to recognize Ree. Sorry, just for technical difficulty's sake here. Ree, go ahead.
So Barbara Decker is the chair of this committee, and we set up a time to meet today for the first time. She came into our office and wanted to find some commonalities where the FSA can help with our initiatives and we can help them. So their current priorities so far for this year are acting as a kind of a conduit for the students and the needs and other student groups aside from TSAC. For requests from faculty or departments. They ask for feedback on, right now they're trying to look at how, and if we can ask, the community too, how people feel about the different modalities for classes, online versus in person versus a hybrid. They want to provide resources and support students. And so one of the things they are doing, and I think they started this last year, was they've been providing stipends to faculty members to explore and adopt an open educational resources, OER materials. So the goal is to encourage more professors to adopt and no-cost materials for their classes. And, affordability for our students is one of our initiatives too. So, encouraging that and supporting that is, I think, something that would be really helpful for us. And aside from that, they really want to know about the activities and interests. I had mentioned to her about our food pantry initiative and other things where we're going to really need department buy-in and faculty support and administrative support. And they're very interested in exploring that with us this year. That was a long report, but that's it.
Thank you, Ree. It sounds like a really fruitful discussion. I'm glad to see that being adopted in more departments and or being talked about, moving in that direction. We're going to go ahead and recognize
recognize Paul.
Thank you. For the COVID response committee, we still haven't met yet for this month, but the meeting is right around the corner. It's going to be next Tuesday, I believe. So I'll have more information to report on the university's approach to COVID in this, new semester. But nothing new from my previous report there. So we'll move on to the next item. Go ahead, Dan.
All right. So student travel committee. Ree?
Me again, sorry. We had a presentation today by the physics department, which interesting because I was the only member on the committee and, I'm just there through TSAC. But anyway, they presented, they want to go to PhysCon in Washington, D.C. There's 6 of them presenting. They are so excited about Nobel laureates being there and the opportunity to really learn more for themselves. They all want to go to grad school and represent MSU Denver. So it was a fantastic presentation.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, Ree. And we encourage everyone, myself included, to get the feedback in on that particular presentation. Sounds like it's something that would really benefit not just these students, but the rest of the university when they come back. All right, moving on to the item K, President's Cabinet meeting. You can go ahead and recognize.
So we have not met since last update. This next go around this next month, Paul will be attending and the update will come from him as that occurs. Thank you. Events committee, Taylor.
Yeah, I just want to give a shout out to Gabe for doing most of the work for this event. I think it was very successful. I wish that more students had been there. And speaking of attendance, I also wish Gabe hadn't had to table by himself, but that's just the way things worked out.
Gabe, would you like to add anything? Then Stephanie.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, so for the event, it went pretty well and stuff. The map turned out great. We just need stickers that show more because those kind of blended into like the map, but that's okay. I would say that so we had a lot of students bring up like a lot of concerns and stuff. One of the most common one was parking, the payment for parking, it's really high and stuff. And then some people, even though they have parking passes that they bought for like $500 a semester, they can't find parking. So, that's one of the big issues that was brought. Another big issue was the maggots and cockroaches in the arts department. And how professors are kind of just like, well, just ignore them, and but they're there and that's a sanitary issue for students and stuff. And yeah, and also I also just gonna say, that like I hope that like for future events, again, we can have more representation there and stuff. Just to make sure that it's not just one person doing everything, or like one person just tabling and stuff. So then like everybody has a fair share to get food and get things, and it's not just like, oh, if I leave, then it's gonna be here. And yeah, awesome. Yeah, so that's like the concerns. And yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Gabe. And I just want to say thank you for all the hard work you put into this, and also encourage council members to, when at all possible, table and represent us to the students. Again, Gabe, thank you. And Taylor, thank you as well. And anybody else who helped table or plan the event. Naomi, is your update for the Indigenous Student Resource Committee, actually, although it's still, we have a chair. So she is the chair. Naomi, would you like to give an update from the committee? If we can hear you. If not, I can take that. Okay, so the committee actually hasn't met yet. So that's what the update was going to be. So we can move on to the next. Just Taylor, the Sustainability Committee.
I have some thoughts about behavior I've seen on the council over the past week, mostly from last week's meeting. Right now, every time I go into our office, I am filled to the brim with anxiety, and it's mostly because of some of the people in this room. Last week, I saw people cut off, skipped over, and just disrespected when their ideas were contrasting during the meeting. The environment fostered was hostile, and this past week has been uncomfortable too. We can sit here all day talking about last year's council, what they did poorly. But for me, I know I always did what I thought was right. You can disagree with that, but I'm not here to debate it. I'm happy to talk with any of you about the former council. You all have my email, but I'm not going to do any more shaming. This council should stand for more than just winning. And I'm glad to finally see some compromises happening. This council should be a place where no one fears making a mistake in a meeting, or having a different opinion is not seen as out of line, where every voice matters just the same. I do think this council has done some incredible things over the course of the year so far. But I don't want to feel anxious when I'm surrounded by my colleagues. So let's work together and make this council the best it can be. For Sustainability Committee, we have no update.
Thank you. Thank you. And this is just also a reminder that in the spirit of following the agenda, if your update is for, this, we should keep our comments to that. And then there's always a place at the beginning or in new business to make announcements. So just a reminder. Armando or Dr. Barone or Dr. Barone, the floor is yours.
Is Dr. Barone on the call?
I don't.
It's hard to see with all the people on there.
Dr. Barone, do you have anything? You want to go first?
I do. Sorry, I was transferring from my phone to my computer. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Loud and
Okay.
Loud and
Sorry.
clear.
Okay, I was on two devices at once. My update is about resolutions. It's not an update, it's more of a request. So I have been asked to ask you all to come up with a process, or ask you all to come up with a process for the way that you are processing or moving forward your resolutions with senior leadership. And so I understand that there have been many resolutions, and so they've been made public, I believe, through social media or in other channels. And so just wanted to ask if that is formalized or in the handbook anywhere. And if not, could that be something that you all do? And could we also, I would advise you to not just do it over social media or in those ways, but that a formal memo is also sent to, whether it's the president or Will Simpkins or whoever you're sharing your resolutions with, when it comes to senior leadership through a formal channel. I think that's really important because it just is for process. So I just wanted to ask if that was something we could implement moving forward, if it is not already codified in some way. So I just wanted to ask that. Yeah, and then just so you all know, Armando and I are working on the retreat planning and setting up various speakers and so forth, and that's going along well. So I think that's it. Armando?
Yes, thank you for that. So, not much. I think we all have recognized the tensions and feelings that have gone on since last week. I've talked to several of you, and I've heard out your feelings, and I definitely want to encourage all of you to use the basic tool of communication that we all kind of want to employ. Really talk to each other and learn respectful boundaries in that sense of just playing and making decisions respectfully. One comment I did want to make is over this past week, I have received several notices and or complaints of some of the behaviors of some of the members of the TSAC board and things that have been said that were kind of derogatory towards certain communities. So I want to remind you all, once again, you all are elected officials of the student population. You are here to represent them and the voice. And while you may have your personal opinions, please be respectful of all individuals, sex, gender, creed, race, everything. We are here to represent every single person as a student body, not just one person or one ideal. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Armando. We can't say that enough times, honestly. So let that, let's all think about that. And thank you, Dr. Brown, for that suggestion. It is a weak point that we've had so far that our resolutions have just been communicated through social media. What I plan to do in the immediate is try and hand deliver copies of this resolution, at least to the president's office. And
I would actually probably not hand deliver. I would electronically deliver, probably via email.
oh, sure. I was just thinking of what I wanted to do. It was going to be a twofold approach. And so
Okay.
that was my second part, is email as well. I just know
Okay.
that I can imagine President Davidson gets a lot of emails, so I don't want it to get lost in the
Sure.
haystack, as it were. But you're right. We'll do that. And it's smart that we get it into our governing documents, because ultimately we don't want this struggle to persist into the next year. We want it to just, have a standard operating protocol for what we do when we pass a resolution, so that it's made clear to both the students and the administration what we're doing. And so I really do thank you for that recommendation. We'll take it into our discussions in the Governing Documents Committee, and I encourage the council at large to chew on these thoughts and see what we can come up with, see if there's a better way.
Can I
yeah.
can I respond to that, please?
Yeah.
I would also encourage you, when you do submit your memos or your resolutions, that you copy the executive assistants for both, whoever it is, whether it's Will Simpkins or the president, Summer Valdez, or Ed Brown, you know what I mean? Because they really help to make sure that they get the information if it does get lost. That's their role. And so that's something that I would just really encourage you all to also do.
Thank you, Dr. Brown. And also to add to this, so everybody's aware here, I did announce, and I didn't read the resolutions, but I did read the names of the resolutions that we passed at the president's cabinet meeting during TSAC's cabinet address. So she was aware of that. So I do agree with further handing them a memo. Just so everyone's aware, though, I wanted to make sure of that. Okay. Anything else, advisors?
Good.
Thank you. All right, on to section 3, old business. CR 22-12, a resolution to address student food insecurity. We have who's going to read it? Alex? Who's Alex?
Well, before we introduce it, I just want to say this isn't the same resolution that we heard last week. This is a compromised resolution. And so there has been a spirit of compromise and collaboration going into this work. And yeah, I would just motion that we read it, that we have Alex read it, so that everyone understands what's changed. And you know, and maybe we can have some we'll have some discussion afterwards. I don't know if anyone feels like we ought to put any sort of cap so it doesn't consume the whole meeting. But yeah, so I'm going to make a motion officially to have the resolution read. Do I have a second?
I second that motion.
Cool. Motion is seconded. We're going to move with the unanimous model. So is anyone opposed to the reading of this resolution? Oh, are you opposed?
Well, no, I was
Okay,
say,
then hold it
this
for a
is
moment.
first.
Oh, no, we'll be fine. Just hold it for a moment. And so we're gonna hear the motion read. Gentle tap of the hammer. Alex, if you would.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for being here. So this is the Student Advocacy Council's second session on the CR22, a resolution to address food insecurity, written by myself and Paul, collaborated with Chad, James, Dan, Naomi, Ree, Michael, and then endorsed by Alan. The abstract, we, the Student Advocacy Council, recognize the rising cost of food and other necessities which can affect each aspect of life. The food pantry has noticed an increase in insecurity among students that has been increasing since 2019 with the changing climate, political dilemmas, and inflation. Many students need supplemental help to feed themselves. The food pantry on MSU Denver campus has had an increase in the volume of students arriving for the services provided by the food pantry and is attempting to meet these demands while also providing food that corresponds to dietary restrictions, while also providing a warm and comfortable environment that is safe for all students and encourages people to use these services even when there is complex emotion around seeking these forms of assistance. And then we have a reference in the back here. So whereas in the fall of 2007, a student government assembly, SGA leader Kyle Haley drafted a proposal to create the Metropolitan State College of Denver Food Bank. The MSU Denver Food Bank was renamed to the Roadrunner Food Pantry in the summer of 2018. This was due to an increased number of students on campus facing poverty and hunger issues. In general, the student population is often overlooked or ineligible to receive many traditional human services such as food assistance programs. The need for a campus food bank became more evident as the economy declined. Therefore, the idea was developed to open a food bank on campus where students could go to receive free food items every week. The student body of MSU Denver now faces a struggle against hunger even more severe than in 2007, as cost of food has increased by 11.9% in the last 12 months, as opposed to the 5.7% increase in 2007. See addendum 1. Whereas an estimated 42 million people in our country are experiencing food insecurity. Whereas 10.5% of Americans struggle with hunger, facing times when there is not enough money to buy food. Whereas 33% of Coloradans lack reliable access to nutritious food. Whereas 20% of adults reported having to regularly cut back or skip meals because there wasn't enough money to buy food. 9.3% of Coloradans struggle financially, living below the poverty line. A Coloradan, on average, only receives $1.29 per meal in SNAP benefits, making it a challenge to put healthy food on the table for themselves and their family. Research identifies high rates of food, housing, and basic needs insecurity among college students enrolled at large public universities. They are 48.5%, 66.1%, and 37.1%, respectively. Students, regardless of need, can benefit from access to free food that is quality, culturally relevant, and nutritious. The Student Advocacy Council is united in our commitment to addressing student food insecurity on campus. Therefore, be it hereby further resolved, the Student Advocacy Council will make an initial transfer of $5,000 of our budget to the Roadrunner Food Pantry as our first step in reaffirming the Student Advocacy Council's commitment to combating food insecurity on campus. Therefore, be it hereby further resolved that SGTSAC will allocate another $5,000 to be donated on the date of October 16th in recognition of World Food Day and our commitment to addressing the problems of food insecurity posed to our university. Therefore, be it hereby further resolved, SGTSAC will immediately allocate $9,000 to be held for the rollover of next year to account for potential budget cuts or other challenges we must prepare for in the spirit of securing the success of our advocacy in the long run. Therefore, be it hereby further resolved, after deducting the $9,000 rollover, SGT SAC will give what remains of the budget at the end of the year to the Roadrunner Food Pantry. The Student Advocacy Council asks this funding allocation is well documented by the Roadrunner Food Pantry, and by the end of this semester, the Roadrunner Food Pantry will report back the use of the funds to the SGT SAC. Therefore, be it hereby further resolved, between the time of the two donations, SGT SAC will demand that the university recognize the issue at hand and request they match our donations, while seeking other organizations that are willing to donate any amount they can, thus increasing the total monetary assistance given. Therefore, be it hereby further resolved, we will encourage that the funding given to the Roadrunner Food Pantry be used to provide for all dietary restrictions, to promote nutritional food for all students during these challenging times. Therefore, be it hereby further resolved, the student government of MSU will promote SNAP benefits and the Roadrunner Food Pantry and other resources available in the Denver metro area, including Metro Caring, Denver Food Pantry, or other donation-based restaurants. Therefore, be it hereby further resolved, the council seeks to work with the Roadrunner Food Pantry to provide options to deliver food to those students who are unable to make it to campus due to health reasons. And therefore, be it hereby further resolved, the satellite locations of the Roadrunner Food Pantry will remain a focus of the MSU Denver Student Council and the Roadrunner Food Pantry.
Thank you, Alex. And so that's the motion that's been made. I motion that we call to question this resolution and vote on it. Is anyone opposed? Anyone think that we need to continue a discussion from last week? Are we comfortable to move forward to vote?
Are you opposed?
Okay, so I appreciate that. But really quick, I'll just repeat again. Is anyone opposed to calling to vote what we just heard?
Explain what calling to vote.
So again, calling to vote, just as a point of parliamentary procedure, I guess, would mean that we're going to vote on this very resolution that was just read. You know, we have talked about
No,
it.
I mean,
this
this time.
is a new one. And so if anyone opposes voting on this now, and if they think there needs to be some discussion, please say so now. Otherwise, we, assuming that no one's opposed, we'll move to vote. Is there anyone that wants to have a discussion? Going twice? Hearing none. So we're going to move to vote. I'm going to go ahead and let Dan call the roll here. And we're keeping track on a few. We have a new way of keeping track now. So we're, doing better than last week.
Okay. All right, council. Alan.
Yes.
Alex.
Yes.
Chad.
Yes.
Naomi, you got some static going on. Would you mind muting for a moment?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, you're all good. I know you're just getting ready to call your vote, so I appreciate you.
Gabe.
Did y'all call me?
Yes, Gabe.
Okay, I abstain.
James.
Aye.
Mike.
I'm proud to vote yes.
Naomi.
Yes.
Paul.
I am also proud to vote yes.
Ree.
Aye.
Stephanie. She abstained. Taylor.
I abstain.
Then I recognize myself for a yes, for an aye. Thank you, council.
The motion passes. Thank you, everyone. That moved along smoothly. Now, on to new business. The first item in new business is the fair housing and renters' rights presentation, in which we're going to give the floor to Taylor. If Taylor, you want to say anything about the fair housing renters' rights presentation?
I don't have much to say about that. It's Dr. Preuss. He said I got it approved with him. We're all set to go, pretty much. As long as we booked the space, correct, Armando? Yes. Yes, we booked the space. It is happening. Yes, it is. We did not book the space yet, but it is still happening.
Does anyone have any questions or anything about this event? Any points of clarification? All right. Seeing none. I might say that we'll coordinate with the social media committee so that we'll push it, whatever event details we have.
Thank you.
No problem at all. Thank you for getting.
Second, C, this is the honors, co-hosting of the honors block party. Mike, the floor is yours.
Thank you. So yes, I've been in talks with the honors program, and we are looking, and I just wanted to get kind of the general feel of this, because I'm gonna have them come in next week and present to us what we're gonna plan on doing. But we're looking at requesting funds from our student allocation, which is 12 grand. So that it's in our as stated in our handbook. They're looking for us to co-host this block party with them. They're also looking for us to advocate for it, kind of get people over there. This last semester, and it was very successful. That was kind of in the brink of COVID, and we think a lot more people. We're teaming with different clubs on campus, and that's just something that I'm bringing it to everyone's attention. Next week, I'm gonna have them come in and present on that. So if anything has anything to add, please do. But that's just all I have. So
Taylor?
Just a quick question. Have you requested funds from CMEI yet, or no?
Yes, that's where they get a majority of their funding. They're going to do that, and then they request funds from our student fund allocation as well.
Anybody else? Okay.
Could we have some people that are in like different clubs also reach out to theirs to also deal with this, to spread the word around and everything? For instance, everybody in here, we're in a lot of different clubs, so we can spread the word around for the honors block party through all these different voices if you could. That's all.
Absolutely. So we are looking to talk to linguistics club, philosophy club, the math club. It's not until October 6th, so we're kind of getting our ducks in a row here, and we're going to send all that stuff out. So you all received an invitation as well. We had Los Molinos, not sponsor us, what's the term? Cater us last time. We had a lot of fun events. It was a great time to see everyone, see new faces. So yes, y'all, that's on the process well together to get clubs to do as well.
Thank you, Mike. All right, unless there's anything burning, we'll move on to the next item. Item D, email from Dr. Elizabeth Parmalee. Gabe, have you got anything for us there? Recognize the floor for you.
Awesome. Yeah. So for my update of that, I put it in the chat instead, the Teams chat on Monday, I believe, and stuff. So I'll ask that you refer to the Teams chat if you have any questions about that update. And it's basically just that Dr. Parmalee just wants to see how TSAC can help with voting and with getting voter engagement and stuff. And there's also a position available and stuff that Taylor's a part of. And yeah, so there's more information in that post that I did in the chat. Yeah.
Thank you, Gabe. Does anybody have anything for Gabe? Going twice?
A member of the public has asked if you could possibly expand, Gabe, on what you put into the chat. Do you think there are any more details you could give us on that?
Yeah, so let me put it up real quick. Get up real quick. There we go. Okay, so Dr. Elizabeth Parmalee, the AVP of Undergrad Studies, wants to connect with TSAC. She's hiring a handful of voter engagement student ambassadors. There's a flyer. I'll drop it in the chat. And these ambassadors will also act as liaisons for TSAC and her meetings/events. She also wants to make sure that there's more broad civic and community engagement stuff university-wide. It wants more student input and gather our student interest and stuff. And let's see how, okay, yeah. And then I'll just put the flyer in the chat.
Thank you, Gabe. Okay. That all you have, Gabe?
Yep, that's all.
Okay. Anybody else for Gabe? Hearing none. Oh, Taylor.
I'm also on it. Like Gabe mentioned, I'm a voter engagement student ambassador. So if you have questions, I can probably answer them too. It is a paid position.
So if you have any questions, ask Taylor or Gabe. All right, thank you. On to E, community bike ride on October 7th. I'm going to pass it over to Paul for this one.
So Armando forwarded along an opportunity that has been brought to our attention. And I'm just going to go through the email really quick. Essentially, it's a community bike ride program on October 7th. And I'm suggesting that we lend our support to advertising this event. If we have counselors that are free, we participate, engage with the community on this. And so here's the email. Hi all, happy start to school. A few of us are planning a community bike ride on October 7th, all day, focused on housing insecurity and affordability. Bike and Build is a national organization which educates youth on housing insecurity and affordability, and they're recruiting participants to bike ride to community organizations that lead responses to address homelessness and housing affordability. At each site, community leaders will give an overview of their programs and policies and facilitate discussion. This is a pilot year, so instead of doing widespread marketing, we're shoulder tapping different student leader groups. We know that student leaders who are in your programs likely want to be and already are a part of the community conversation on housing affordability, housing insecurity, policy changes, responses, et cetera. And really their ask is that that we can identify 3 to 5 student leaders each, and they're asking several different orgs, who are interested and want to attend the opportunity. As we identify students who have confirmed interest and availability, please reach back out to them. You can talk to me if you want some contact info. If you're interested in this, we can let them know that we want to RSVP essentially. If possible, please confirm students by 9/16 so that we can have 3 weeks prior to the event for communication, signing waivers, et cetera. It's going to be, just to reiterate the details, October 7th, an all-day commitment. It's going to be maybe 20 to 30 faculty, students, staff, and alumni doing an approximately 10-mile bike ride, and vans will be available for mobility accessibility. And so everyone can participate in this event. And community partners are going to be the Denver Housing Authority, the Sun Valley, Rocky Mountain Communities, and Colorado Village Collaborative, Lincoln, La Alma, Park Safe Outdoor Space, Denver Health org. As a pilot year, we do not have heavy advertising, but instead selectively allowing participation spots to senior leadership, alumni, student orgs, et cetera. So for those of us in clubs, this is an opportunity to, really engage with the problem and the solutions for like the housing affordability crisis we're dealing with. So I kind of just going to open the floor and see if that's something generally we'd support, want to advertise. If anyone thinks that this isn't necessarily something that we should be advertising or supporting for some reason, please let that be known. Anyone have any thoughts on this?
Alex.
I could probably pan out some marketing material for the bike ride and then also the block party as well.
Can you, point of clarity, you're talking about from the, can you explain what you said for the documents for social media? So is that what you're talking? Okay.
Yeah, just social media marketing material for these 2 dates.
Thank you.
And I just want to reiterate a call. Is anyone opposed to us participating in this? So it sounds like a really good event. Any reason we shouldn't? Nope. Okay. Then I'm going to think that, hearing no disapproval, we're going to move forward with our endorsement of this event. Details are going to be forwarded along to our social media committee. And everyone, please check your calendar, see if you're free that day, see if you can be one of the 3, one of the 5 to show up and participate in this educational opportunity. So, go ahead, Dan.
So where should council members put that they're interested? Is there an RSVP in there, or are you going to reach it back out to whoever sent that email to say that we are interested, or what are the next steps for those who are interested?
It's my understanding the email was sent council-wide.
Okay.
And in the event that it wasn't, I'm going to forward this email after this meeting. I'm going to just forward it again so everybody has it at the top of their inbox. So that's one way you can reach out to me. Know that you're welcome to shoot me a message on Teams. You can come talk to me in person. You can shoot me a text message. If you reach out to me, I'll do my best to get you into this opportunity. Thank you, Dan, for the question. It's a good one. Anything else on this item before we move on? All right.
Okay.
Anything online? Nope. So moving on to the pre-law program advertisement / endorsement with Dr. Castle. I'm going to go ahead and recognize James.
Hi, so Dr. Castle from the Political Science Department has been working really hard to put together this MSU Denver and CU Denver law pre-law luncheon that's going to be coming up here on September 23rd. And I think it's a great opportunity to allow students who want to go into law school to get the support and help that they need. This will allow them to connect with actual law admissions from CU Denver Law, as well as working with professors and admission staff and law students, and they'll be able to get to see like what mock classes or what a class would be like through a mock class. And so I just think that we should be advertising this, endorsing this for Dr. Castle, because he has put in a lot of work for this. And so I would like to get this opportunity out to as many students as possible, and that's why I'm asking for the council to put up the flyer that he has created on our social media. I have sent a copy of it onto the chat, and I will also send it to the social media team. And I also do have physical copies if anyone would like to take a look. All you need to do to actually register is scan the QR code. So if you have any questions that I can answer, please let me know.
Awesome. So is anybody opposed to endorsing this pre-law luncheon that Dr. Castle has worked incredibly hard for the to put together for the students in the pre-law program to set them up to succeed? Hearing none. Great. Okay, so then James, it looks like you can go ahead and do whatever you need to do with Dr. Castle to endorse that, and then bring it to the council if anything needs a decision. Appreciate that.
Yeah, bring
Thank
it
you,
to us
Castle.
in the social media committee, and we'll get that get it legs and stuff.
Okay, so item G on this is Mike, pay raise for secretary. Mike, floor is yours.
Thank you. So this is something I mentioned briefly earlier. The budget committee had a really positive discussion this weekend, this Monday. And one of the things we did talk about was the salary the wages of the secretary, aka Kenny, and what we thought about that. So minimum wage is going up in January. So we've budgeted for that accordingly. But I think there's no issue then because I believe Kenny's making $15.89 right now an hour. I think, and I didn't write a resolution this because I think we can motion because we've already passed the resolution, but I think we should raise that to $17 an hour. I still don't think that's a living wage, but I think that's something we could absolutely do with this one authority to do. So if there's any discussion on that. Yeah.
I appreciate you introducing this, Mike, and I agree. When I was sitting in the budget committee meeting and we heard that the proposed wage for our secretary we were going to start with minimum, and then as minimum goes up, we will go up, forced to go up. And I was like, well, what's the difference if we were to just go to where it's going and start there, right? And the price difference was small, right? I'm not saying it's negligible, but it's small, and I think it's enough that we can afford to pay a more decent wage to our secretary, especially for the work we're asking, like all these notes and agendas and stuff like that. I think it's only fair, and I hope that others will support us in this initiative. I think we all know personally what it's like to live on a very small wage. If you didn't know before, you know now, and so we can do better for our secretary, and I think we should. So.
Taylor.
I just want to do a point of clarification. So Denver citywide minimum wage will be $17.29. So I would make a friendly amendment to say that it should be $17.29.
And
you, Mike, friendly or no?
Friendly, absolutely.
And actually, while we're at amending it, 1729, I'd like to make an amendment for it to be a flat 18, because we know the MIT living wage is 21 in Denver. Is anyone opposed? Or Mike, is that a friendly amendment?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
All right, just so everyone's clear on what the main motion is on the floor. We have a motion to raise the wage of our secretary to $18 per hour. Is so yeah, that's the motion on the table. So we're going to move into discussion on this, starting with the opposition. Is anyone opposed to this move with the resolution? If so, you will get to speak first. Anyone online? Going once, going twice? All righty. So no opposition. Did anyone else want to say anything in terms of support of this idea? Or do you feel comfortable moving forward? Yeah, we'll be voting on it right after discussion closes. Yeah, you motion to vote?
Yes, I'm motion to vote on that right now.
Cool. We call the question. Does anyone second calling the question?
I second that.
Cool. We'll move to call the question. Does anyone object to ending discussion and moving to call the question? Anyone online? All right, hearing none, we end discussion and we're going to call a vote specifically on the motion, like Mike said, to immediately raise the wage of our secretary to was it 729, Taylor? Or 1820? Oh, we went to 18.
18.
Sorry. Thank you, everyone. Ooh. So
Okay.
to $18, just to be clear, raising it to $18. We're going to start the roll. Go ahead, Dan.
All right. Alan,
Yes.
Alex,
Aye.
Chad,
Aye.
Gabe,
Yes.
James,
I'm happy to vote yes for this.
Mike,
Happy to vote yes for this as well.
Naomi. We'll come back. Oh. Paul,
I have to vote yes on this.
Bree. Stephanie, you're still with us? Okay. Taylor,
Absolutely.
recognize myself.
Sorry. I get a little excited. Dan.
I recognize myself for an aye. It's a no-brainer.
All right. The motion passes.
Thank you,
Our
Council.
secretary will make $18 an hour starting today. And thank you, council. So now that we've finished our old business, we do want to move to public comment, just to make sure we get to them in the agenda. Have we got anyone in the list? Anyone?
Senna's first.
Cool. So we got Senna. Oh,
Senna's, okay. Yeah, Senna's first.
cool. So we're going to go ahead and recognize Senna. And per our first resolution of the year, we do ask the speakers keep it to 5 minutes if they can. We do want to make sure everybody gets a chance to speak during these times. So please, Senna, the floor is yours.
Thank you, everybody. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Senna Bryant. I was a former council member on the previous administration. Today, I just wanted to come in and see how the new council was doing, and I'd like to commend you all for finding a compromise to the food pantry resolution. I would also like to just remind this new council to be wary and not fall into the same divisive issues and separation problems that have happened in the prior administrations and the prior administrations before that. It's very easy to blame those that came before you because we also did the same as well in our administration. And although conflict does bring about resolution, it doesn't if it's not constructive. You guys are all here under the same idea that we're here to, help the student bodies and all the students that are here. And that needs to be the remainder in the focus. This is not an ego game. This is not a who's going to do it better. This is not anything else other than we are here to help and serve the students that are the reason why any of you guys are here, to be honest. So I just wanted to remind you guys of that, because if it falls into the same things that had happened beforehand, then you won't be here serving the public at all. But I do want to commend you guys on finding the compromise, and I really look forward to hoping that you guys keep the steam going, because I have seen some positive come from it, but at the same time, the negative is always going to be more reflective than the positive. So make sure that that's something that you really adhere to and are, just paying a mindful attention to. So thank you guys, and I yield the rest of my time.
Thank you, Senna. On the next, Jeremy.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's good to see you all. For those of you who don't know, Jeremy Medina, former co-chair of TSAC last year. Just here to check in. I had a meeting earlier and just wanted to show my support as well. I have accepted a graduate assistant in CMEI, student travel and professional development. So I just wanted to let everyone know here as a resource, and I would love to help you all navigate some unknown waters that are definitely going to continue to come up. I also wanted to introduce Nicole over here. She was the former co-chair before me last year, and she's also a great resource too. So yeah, I yield my time back.
Thank you, Jeremy. Next in stack, Kristen Nygaard.
All right, I am Kristen Nergard. I'm the secretary of the Student Honors Council. This is Tan. He's the president of the Student Honors Council. And today, like in the spirit of the resolution that you guys were able to pass today, we did want to mention that in our last meeting, which took place this week, we voted unanimously to donate 10% of our budget to the food pantry as well. As a satellite location to the food pantry, we get to see directly the impact that it has. So we really want to commend you guys for getting that passed, and thank you for your dedication.
Thank you, Kristen. Tan, would you like to add anything as the president of the council?
I think she already said enough, so I'm good.
Thank you. And last on our stack thus far is Chad. Chad, canvas, elections.
Hey y'all, are you reading my mind? Y'all know me, I'm a one-trick pony. Actually, do you mind? There was a miscommunication and I was under the impression I was on the agenda. Is it cool if I might go over my 5 minutes?
Is anybody opposed to that?
Well, someone would have to.
I motion to add him to the end of the agenda.
Okay.
Motion has been heard. Do we have any seconds on that?
Is anybody opposed? Oh.
Nope. Rhea has seconded it. The motion is to add Chad to the end of the agenda, so we can go beyond the 5-minute time limit there. Is anyone opposed to this addition? Hearing then that the motion's been on the floor. All right. So then the motion is accepted, and we put Chad on the agenda. Take it away.
Cool. So yeah, I think everyone here on the council knows me. I'm a constant thorn in your side, although hopefully not. But for those of you who don't, I ran the elections last term to set it up. It's something that I am very passionate about, and it's something I feel like I have a lot of knowledge on. So it's something I'd like to keep going and carrying on. Of course, there's a whole process of getting that set up, but that's why I'm here, because I'd like to get that going. The more time we have to think about it, the better I feel. But I guess one thing before we start talking straight numbers, I just want to get a sense of what the council also wants out of elections. I know it's my thing, but I also want to hear from the people who got elected from last year's elections on what they would like to see out of elections as well. So we can talk about that whenever we could. We can do some quick shout outs, some on the agenda now. If anyone would like to speak up and add anything, but obviously that doesn't need to happen. But you know what, since we're here at this moment and everyone's got a lot of interest, let's just go to that.
Alan, Taylor, Taylor. In progressive stack, Taylor's already spoken and he passed it to you. So Alan.
Yeah, I would like to, I think it's really, really important because we had so few people vote for our body that we have to do something, a lot of things, more than just one thing, to get out the word about student elections. So the very first thing I would say that's important is publicity by any means possible and early, and also not put the voting into finals week or midterms. Should be when students aren't overwhelmed with their own schoolwork, and just try to make it as much as possible to get out people voting to the student body and how important it is. I think we had less than 160 some people vote out of a student body of almost 20,000, and that's pretty sad.
148 was the exact number.
148. Yeah, that's not too many people. It makes it even a bigger challenge to represent everybody if we don't know what they want and things like that. So that's all I have to say. It's a suggestion.
Taylor. or I mean,
Bree, hi. I am probably somebody who got elected by the skin of my teeth last time, but I thought that it might be really helpful, almost like, when you vote in a regular election, whether it, coming up midterms or, every 4 years, where we can ask questions and we can encourage people not just to vote for us, but what they'd want to see out of an advocacy council like ours to benefit them. And maybe if it's multiple choice or whatever, but we do something so that they have an option to vote for something and points, and comments, and questions that help them.
I guess just so I understand, like, are you saying like a canvassing sort of the student body, or do you mean on like ballots
On the ballot.
themselves?
You know how on your normal ballot, if you're voting and there'll be a number of ballot issues, amendments, but I don't know what they're called. James, you'll know what they're called. But anyway, so that we could ask questions where they can, instead of just voting for us, there are important issues that they might be facing that we could get their opinions on, and it might be of interest to them, more of an impetus for them to vote with things like that on the ballot.
thank you, Taylor.
Echoing oh, sorry. That's weird. I really like the idea of getting students' perspectives more involved. So maybe like a town hall kind of deal would be really cool. I want to applaud you for last year with the ranked choice voting. I love that a lot. I think that's amazing. I like the other system too. I also want to mention last Friday, I spoke with Paul Lopez, who is the Denver County Clerk and Recorder, and he said he would very much like to help with our elections. What do you think of that?
Yeah, I mean, county clerks are always helpful. I guess my one concern is my only concern, and it's a very like small, limited, tiny concern, is a lot of county clerks are they come up in the old system of plurality voting. So that is my only concern, because ranked choice is but it sounds like you have.
I actually asked him about ranked choice voting. And he said he wants to implement it in Denver eventually, but we have to start small. So that's why he would like to really help with MSUs or any other small elections like that.
Your assistant, huh?
James, and then Mike.
So one thing I would also like to do, instead of just focusing on getting more students to vote, I would like to see more students getting involved and even running themselves. Because I feel like when I was running, there wasn't that many students that were engaged to actually run it. And I would love to see more students that want to take part in this process. So I don't know if like we, get more publicity out that student elections are coming up, but we also talk about like, here's like what you can do or what you can benefit or whatever to get them to like run. And on top of that, I would like to have it to where candidates have more time to really, express who they are, why they're running. So maybe as a council, we set up like an event for, people who are running, even if you are rerunning, you're allowed to get up and talk to the public and be like, hey, this is why I'm running, yada, yada, yada. So I would just like to see more engagement from the council as well, so that we can draw more people in.
Thank you, James. Mike.
Yeah, I have a question for Taylor. So Paul, I'm not sure what his last name was. Lopez. He's very interested in like our election and help facilitate. I love that. Is he offering a monitoring number, or what is he just advice? Like how interested is he in helping us with this?
From my understanding, he said he would like to like run it, but we could reach out. I'll just send him an email, see if I can get more info.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Nice, Paul. Next on stack.
In the spirit of what James is saying, I think it really would help if we kind of provide an avenue and opportunity for the students to come to know the people running and come to like flesh out what it is they're all about, and what better way to do that than in a nice, civil, principled debate. We have an excellent debate team here at MSU, headed by Dr. John Reef of the Communications Department. If you've had the pleasure of having one of this guy's classes, we would know that he'd be an excellent person to work with on this. And that's just my suggestion, that that both we promote a spirit of civil discourse and constructive criticism, to kind of echo what Senna was saying earlier. And what better way to do that than in a nice principled debate? I think it'd be cool. Just an idea I want to toss out there, and I can talk to the debate team if we want to organize something like that.
Thank you, Paul. And I just want to add one thing that I've heard Chad and Sarah say last year as they were getting ready to do the elections. And I thought it was a very important point about now is the time that individuals are going to learn and to get engaged civically, in democracy. And so if this is the time that they're going to make the habit to not vote, it's going to probably or will follow them. Likewise, this will be the time to become actively involved in democracy, and that will likely continue as well. So I am 100% in support of the elections and what Chad has going. So thank you.
Do you mind if I take like maybe 5-10 minutes to kind of respond to everything? Cool.
Hearing none. Go ahead.
So just going down the list, like Alan, I think I agree wholeheartedly. It's a really big issue when we have the elections right after spring break, right when everyone's getting ready for finals, because no one has time to think about that and everyone's kind of exhausted. So I think it would be a good initiative if we try to move the elections up before spring break. Now, the only concern is that I think another part of this is looking big picture is to try and unify the elections across the Aurora campus, and they all hold their elections after spring break. So I see the benefits of both going both ways, but maybe this is something that y'all will have to kind of decide for yourselves. When like the cost benefit analysis, do we want it before or after spring break? Because there are benefits to both. I, for one, am good either way. I'm good either way. I know I'm not hired yet, but but me personally. So I agree with that, and I think it's a great way. And additionally, getting out and engaging more with the public. This is why I want to get this started early, because last time, 6 weeks to do the entire election, it just wasn't enough time. So hopefully now with 6 months, we'll have actual time to engage with the public and set this stuff up. So to your point with the opinion issues on the ballot, I think that's a great idea. I'm not sure that's something for elections to handle, but it's definitely something I'm willing to implement on ballots. Easy to do, easy to set up, but that's something I think for the council to definitely think about and come up with the language for that. But just in my experience, I have been totally in favor with that last term. Taylor, I'm totally down to cooperate with the Denver clerk. However, I would be concerned if he wants to run it himself, because I think where I can be here and I'm a part of the campus, he is a clerk, and how much time he thinks he has, he should know he will never have that amount of time. I already work closely with the Jefferson County clerk, and he does not have enough time. So that would be my only concern. I'm very willing to work with him, but not if it comes at the cost of him running all the elections, because I don't think that's a good idea for this campus. James, I think, getting more students involved and having more candidates have more time to express themselves, definitely. In the elections bylaws, it's you have a $500 limit on how much you can spend, and when you only have 1 week to campaign, you got to drop some mad stacks and swag to fill out that budget. So with more time, definitely, I think, and I think it's essential too. Paul, debates, I think definitely. I think at least one debate would be excellent. It's a great way for candidates to go out there and state their issues and really kind of try and inform the public to the essences of what they're talking about. I guess the only question is this something for elections to run, or is this something for TSAC to run? And that doesn't have to be decided now by any means. But in your idea, what's your idea, I guess?
In my idea, we would want that to be something that that the elections would run, because I think that leaving it up to TSAC to determine the structure of this debate might or what the debates look like might be some degree of like undue influence on their outcome. Because there's definitely a way I'd like to see them done, but maybe that's not the same vision everyone else has, right? And so I think that, having a as nonpartisan approach in like setting that up. I was thinking a collaboration between the elections team and Dr. Reef. You know, I'm not going to volunteer him, right? I still got to reach out and talk about this stuff, but we could kind of figure that out. If that's too large a burden for just the two, then maybe we can figure out a way to get input from TSAC without it corrupting the
No,
process.
I think I agree. I think TSAC hosting debates are going to be iffy. So I think outside help, I sort of think elections should run the debates, but that is also more work, meaning more money, et cetera, et cetera. So if we can find ways to alleviate that, I think that's the best way to do it, because there is also a lot on the plate for elections to not hopefully have repeats of last term. Anyway, sorry.
Do you have something about the debate, Bree?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Just terminology. I don't really like the term debate because we're not all vying for one position and nor is anyone else. And I think it lends itself to kind of grandstanding and platform kind of stuff that could turn ugly. But a town hall kind of event, like someone had suggested, I think maybe Mr. Taylor, sounds more friendly, you know.
I think once again, whatever the event is something for elections to run. But I think at its core, it's something for TSAC to decide what event they want to do, because ultimately that's where the funding will come from. But I know that either way, I think elections would be happy to run it. Sorry, I keep speaking as if I am.
Paul, do you have something?
But I'm gunning for that. Sorry.
I just want to quickly respond to that idea, Rhea, and I understand like this sentiment, because we've talked a little bit about this in the office. So this is a little continuation of it, but I know the word debate, and especially political candidate debate, is a particularly charged one in the society we live in. You know, you turn on the presidential debates, and it is a mess. You go to even some like legislative debates, it's a mess. This is an opportunity for us to like define what a principled civil debate that gets the issues to the fore looks like. And I believe we can do that without, you know, making it a mudslinging match. I just think it's going to take care. It's going to take principle of those involved. And even if someone were to get up there and make a fool of themselves attacking somebody, I think that would be a show of character that is important to the public when they consider who do they want on this council. Someone who's willing to work with people, someone who's going to get in there and, you know, yell at people. I think this would make clear, you know, what kind of person you want in office. And so even if it were to take a direction of, oh my gosh, it's getting a little hostile, that would tell me, look who I'm probably not going to vote for. And so I think there's nothing but good that can come from these debates, especially if we're careful about how they're moderated, for example. And so, you know, it doesn't turn into something horrible. But there's a lot of good to come out of it, I think. Just to push back gently a little bit.
Thank you, Paul. Ree, I hear what you're saying. And same, Paul. Thank you for that. Back to you.
And so I think the last person I haven't addressed is Gabe. And but I think meet and greet is another good one. We didn't have any opportunity for students to actually come and meet prospective candidates. So I think that's another big one that we should look at. Now, to finish, I guess like I just want to say for me to reflect what Dan said about what I said. But I think that here at university, it's a microcosm of kind of democracy like at large. And I feel I'm not alone in kind of an analysis that there's a lot of apathy about our current situation with just general democracy and you know, in where we live. And I do think that a part of that is just not being politically active. And so I think voting is one of the most basic elements of being politically active. But if you're at university and you know, and you're already super cynical about it, why are you suddenly not going to be cynical afterwards? So I feel like, you know, at university, we all hopefully kind of care a little bit more. And so I think it would be good to actually inspire the student body. And I think that's why having really good elections is an extremely important method of getting people politically active and politically involved. And so on that note, I think, Alan, did you have a hand? I don't know if you wanted to say something.
As soon as you brought up political involvement, it reminded me of an honors colloquium I took a couple of years ago, put on by the Gary Hart Center. I think that's a really good place. He's really wants to promote political involvement. He basically you just made his point about our participation in democracy and things like that. That's all I wanted to add is we should reach out to them.
I mean, it sounds like based on the feedback I've gotten, it seems like I think elections is very important, and it is, I think, a big part. And not only that, I think it's a good way to like let people know, hey, you have a student government that can represent you, because I feel like most of us, until we were like here, didn't even know a student government existed and didn't even know it was funded. So I feel like elections is a really good way to get out there and let students know that student government exists and have them care about it so that things get done. And hopefully in the future, the better, the more voter turnout and et cetera that we get, the bigger the budgets can be, so that the more students it can influence. So I guess ultimately I'm here trying to like get out there and say, let's set up some funding. Just a very general thing for y'all to think about. From the election side, things that need to happen is the writing of a new manual, the writing of an elections process, and the codification, I guess, of how to like write and how to enact the election. Last semester we had so little time, we had to declare a temporary election, which in the language of the elections manual meant that the elections team got to basically do whatever they wanted, which is, I think, a really bad precedent to have in the elections manual. So I just want to say, like, by hiring an elections team, you're not actually just hiring for an election. You're hiring to build an entire elections process that doesn't really exist right now for MSU. So that's why it might take a little bit more money this go around than it has in the past, or hopefully ever will in the future. But it is going to take time because those things have to be written out and have to be done, and especially for a single transferable vote or ranked choice voting, sorry. Because I, for one, think that that is also a really important aspect, and at the universities is where it starts. And I think that sentiment is already felt by some county clerks out there. So essentially, that's all I want to say. I'm going to be talking with Mike about hard numbers. I think estimates are around $8,000 for labor alone. But obviously, we would like to throw events. So I think kind of prospectively, it's going to be more than that if we want the events, which I think are so essential. And also, just on a side note, as a personal thing, I think it's a really great shame that like going to, and this is not for here, but like elections in general, it's a really great shame that election day is like going to the DMV and that it sucks and you hate it. I think election day should be a big party. Like it should be a celebration of this awesome thing that we have. And it shouldn't be this like bummer of an experience that it is right now. And I think at MSU, that's something that we can start. So
appreciate it, Chad.
Yeah, thanks.
Oh, sorry. One last thing too. Sorry.
Please.
That I wanted. Yeah. I wanted to mention one last thing, and we can explore options for this. But this will be my last go around at MSU doing these. Obviously, if you hire me, which I think you should, if I haven't made that clear. In which case we would like to have a little bit more funding to hire a freshman or sophomore as well to be with us during elections time to keep this going. That's everything I wanted to say.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chad. I want to take a moment. I know we had some technical difficulties with Naomi, and it's my understanding that the motion to add something into the agenda, an announcement specifically. Is anyone opposed to this addition to the agenda? All right. Hearing none, going twice. Good. Naomi, the floor is yours, please.
Okay, can you guys hear me now?
Oh, yeah, way too loud. 1 second. We'll turn you down a little bit. You're good. That's us, not you.
Sorry, I was connected to my Bluetooth earlier and it does not work well in my car. But anyway, so I spoke with, I do believe his name was August from SACAB. I guess he was on the council last year. He wanted me to voice for him because he was unable to make it to public comment today, that we need somebody from SACAB to be on the Auraria Sustainability Committee. And I told him that there was Stephanie and Mike and that I would pass that on to you two in hopes that one of you guys would be able to join that committee because I guess they need to work together, or SACAB just basically somebody from SACAB needs to be on that I don't remember the importance of it. We haven't got a discussion of it yet. It was very brief, but I just wanted to voice that. And if you guys wanted to reach out to him to get the details, fantastic. If not, the next meeting I can update on that, or maybe he can join, just depends.
Naomi, it looks like Mike has something to add to that.
Yeah, so we actually discussed earlier today, there's two positions that we as SACAB kind of need to fill. We need to add a chairman to the SACAB version of that sustainability committee. So if a SACAB member does chair that committee. We also need to find someone from member of the public, probably, or a student from MSU to be on the general council for the area sustainability committee. So my original thought was to talk to Taylor about it. You are the chairman of the sustainability committee for here. I think that, I mean, we haven't talked about it yet, but I'm getting there. So that's something I'm thinking, bringing to your attention. So
thank you, Naomi. Thank you, Mike.
And Taylor, you were mentioned. Is there anything you want to say to that? No pressure.
Mike, we can talk after the meeting.
Thank you, Taylor. Okay.
Per our agenda, it believes that we've reached the conclusion of the list of public who would like to speak. If we missed you, please make it known right now. Okay, so per our agenda, we'll move to adjourn. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion is seconded. Is anyone opposed? Meeting adjourned.